Hi, my name's Tilly, and this is why we can have a hope and a future. When I was given the title of A Hope and a Future, I instantly thought of the story of Noah's Ark. I find that it's often underused, we're used to seeing it in jigsaws or baby toys, but as I was reading through it, I noticed the parallels between the pandemic and the flood. Whilst there are some clear differences, like the virus hasn't been sent from God, their experiences were similar. First, obviously, there's the isolation of living in a boat for around 150 days without visiting friends or going outdoors. Genesis 7 says, "On that very day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth entered the ark." It later says, "The animals going in were male and female of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in." I mean, can you imagine lasting 150 days without Netflix or Zoom calls for entertainment? I can imagine them cooped up in the boat, snacking constantly and arguing with each other over whose turn it was to clear out the elephant cage. If it were me, I'd be tempted to kick them off. The second parallel is more obvious, the disaster. Our world has faced a huge economic threat, many lives have sadly been lost, and there's still a huge recovery. However, we do have some advantages. We're blessed to have technology, for example, being able to contact the people we love. We're also seeing the nation come together and support each other, whether it's providing food for the less fortunate or celebrating those who continue to work day in and day out to keep our country going. I wonder if Noah and his family looked for the things to be positive about. I wonder if even in the overwhelming fear and misery of the crisis, that Noah was strong in his faith, trusted God, and had hope that he would make a way. Right back to the beginning of the story, it said that God told Noah, "I have found you righteous in this generation," which must have given him the courage to do something so heroic. This made me wonder how God views me in my generation, and if I'm living a life that enables him to use me despite my imperfections, as well as if I'm ready and open to allow him to do so. In the media, we've seen people changing their lifestyle, starting new fitness programs and hobbies, but how are you using this time to grow spiritually? To use your free time to change your habits and lean into God's word? I doubt this was Noah's priority at the time, but I'm sure that after all the chaos settled, he realised what a valuable lesson that was for him. Another parallel I noticed is at the end of the story, where glimpses of hope arise. After the tiresome 40 days of destruction, Noah sent out a dove in the hope that the water was receding to the ground. He played the waiting game for many days until finally the dove returned with an olive branch to show the flood had dried. It wasn't over though. They were still left with uncertainty. The journey between receiving the olive branch and landing on safe ground could not have been easy for the family. What will the new normal look like? How do we get there? And how do we recover from what's happened? I can imagine Noah and his family letting out a huge sigh of relief as they stepped off the ark, grateful that they persisted and followed God's word constantly. What's your olive branch? What are you looking for to give you hope? Maybe it's lots of things. Maybe you've already seen your olive branch and you're in that waiting stage for the final destination like Noah. Your olive branch could be hugging your grandkids, McDonald's reopening, or being in the C3 Centre again. To throw another similarity in there, the iconic rainbow sent by God signifies the end of Noah's ordeal and sends a promise for the future. The same rainbow was used in our crisis as an optimistic symbol in their windows as they looked for a sign of hope. God recognized Noah as someone who could cope with the challenge. So despite the difficulties, Noah stayed strong in faith, actively talked to listen to God. He knew what signs he needed to see for confirmation. What sign is God trying to give you to provide hope for your future?